Hi there, you're watching Gardens and Graveyards, and my name is Charisma. Today we're in the garden, and we are about to create a no-dig garden bed. Essentially, I think all of our garden beds are no-dig, with maybe the exception of the very front of our yard where I'm standing, because the previous owners had laid black plastic down, and then we mulched over it. And maybe some expansions of our beds we've hand dug and planted, but for the most part we do no dig everywhere. And essentially all we do is lay down cardboard over whatever is existing there, be it grass or weeds or dirt, whatever, and then we put down 6 to 8 inches of mulch. That's it. If we know that we're going to be planting, I will cut some holes that are big enough for the plants that we're going to be planting, just to make it really easy. And I try to I put down the cardboard, cut the hole, plant the plant, and then mulch. Seems to be the easiest process. But if I'm not ready to plant, or I don't have any intentions of planting the area, I obviously don't cut any holes. I do try to overlap all of the cardboard to make sure that no weeds can come up through the cracks. And if I decide to plant something later, it's more than easy to just either aug straight through it or, cut it open and dig a hole. So what's really fun about this is, yes, you can buy your mulch, bagged mulch, commercial mulch. You can get it from a local source and have it delivered, or get a pickup truck full of it, and that's usually prettier. It's usually a pretty mulch. You could use compost for mulch, which I do in my raised beds and my medicine garden for sure. It's nice. It's like black and pretty and clean. But you can make these no-dig gardens totally free, which is this space is going to be totally free. This pile of mulch behind me is wood chips from that neighbor down there. You could see some. They also have a wood pile or a chip pile down there, and they had a bunch of trees cut down, and my husband just went down there when they were cutting down the trees and asked the tree company if they would drop off some chips at our place, and they did for free. That's really common. You could ask tree cutting services. You can ask power companies, like your public utility will often do free chip drops, because they are chipping up so much that there's not enough places for them to drop off all that mulch. So they're more than happy to dump a load in somebody's yard. So this is a full load. We only get like a half, but this one, there were so many trees and they had so much to do, and it was actually really convenient for them to like empty a whole load and just go right back half a block up the street and continue working, rather than going to find some place to empty their truck. Anyhow, it's very wet. It's considered a wet mulch. It has not been, sitting out and processing or any of that kind of stuff, but it's hot. It's a hot mulch. So I'll show you some close-ups, but there's some leaves in there, but then when you get down inside it, it's kind of smoldering, and the leaves are, burning up and going away. So they go away pretty quickly. They dissipate in the, just in the oxygen. So we don't have to deal with that for very long. They get crunchy and we step on them and they go away, and we're left with the actual wood mulch. So I'm going to just get started. We're just gonna take wheelbarrows full into the backyard and lay down, we're gonna lay down the mulch first. I'll show you the area. We recently planted a new rhododendron in there, and yeah, anyway, hopefully this inspires you to create a beautiful space in your garden, maybe an area that you don't really want to work in, you don't want weeds, you don't want to deal with it. This is a really easy, fast, and economical way to take care of that space. So let's go to work. So here you can see the area that we need to remulch around the pavers, and then from the pavers to the butterfly garden, and then back to the fence where the rhododendron that we just planted is all going to have fresh mulch. First, I wanted to weed eat down any of the tall grass and weeds. It just makes laying the cardboard a little bit smoother, and make sure that there's no grass seeds or anything that's gonna just keep replicating. The whole idea is to suppress the weeds. Of course, blowing off the area and making it clean before starting in on the mulch was just a good idea. The next step was to start pulling out all the cardboard that we had been saving over a couple of weeks and start layering it over the entire area. Generally, we pick up cardboard from grocery stores and, of course, Amazon delivery boxes, and we save our cardboard from any appliances or something like that we might have purchased. One thing I tried to do is remove any tape from the cardboard. I used to leave it on there, but it always ends up peeling off and coming up through the mulch and just being messy. So I do try to take off the tape. Although in areas like this, I'm not as worried about it because there's not any planting going on. I'm also edging along the sidewalk in this case because I already had some grass that was trying to creep up over the sidewalk because I hadn't done any edging over there for a while. So it was a good time to just take care of that. As I mentioned earlier, it's important to layer your cardboard in a way that ensures that there aren't any cracks or holes showing, because weeds and grass are persistent and they will grow up through any opportunities that they have. So as much as you can, if you can, overlap your cardboard, that's a better idea. One other tip that I have on layering cardboard is to face all of your labels down, because I have discovered in the past that some labels are really brightly colored, like bright blue and green, and even sometimes the black labels will on occasion show up through the mulch, and it kind of looks ridiculous. So I just try to face it all up so it's just the tan side showing. It just looks nice and uniform underneath your mulch. A happy coincidence happened here where I edged the sidewalk. I was able to fold the cardboard and slide it down between the soil line and the sidewalk, and it basically held my cardboard in place a little bit better before the mulch got laid on top of it. And I know that it's going to help suppress the weeds or the grass from trying to crawl back over the sidewalk like it's been trying to do over the last several months. Now the fun part. Fill this wheelbarrow up as many times as possible. and then walk it back and spread it out. So this was a wet or green mulch because these were trees that just got taken down, and the chipper doesn't chip up leaves very well, so you're going to see big chunks of leaves and needles in this mulch. It has not had any time to decompose or break down or anything like that, like aging. So some of that process will just have to happen in the beds. My strategy in mulching areas like this is to dump out piles of the wheelbarrow every few feet and then come back through and rake. But I don't necessarily want to bring back all the mulch and before I rake it out, because when you do that, sometimes you don't really get an even application and you have to go back over areas and add mulch and that type of thing. So I basically do 2 or 3 wheelbarrows of mulch and then spread it out. I use a hard rake to spread it out, and then I see if I need more and continue on the project that way. Whenever possible, it's best practice to have a layer of mulch that is between 6 and 8 inches deep for this first application. When you do a really thick layer like that, your chances of weed suppression is much higher. So you can see here that powdery smoke. It looks like it might be dust from the wood chips, but it's actually steam from inside of that mulch pile is composting, and that's what's considered a hot mulch or a hot compost. And basically it just means that the things that are inside there are breaking down and decomposing quickly. And sometimes if you are in a really hot area and you have a large pile of mulch like this, it can actually catch on fire from smoldering, and it could be a problem. But we're in a pretty moist area and we'll be taking care of this pile pretty quickly, so we're not worried about it. And you can see here there's different ways that you can work your body as you are doing something like this. So be aware of how you're standing, how you're using your body so that you don't hurt yourself. You don't want to wrench your back. There's a lot of repetitive movements happening right here. So sometimes changing it up and not doing the exact same movement for every wheelbarrow is a good idea. And there you have it. It took about 10 wheelbarrows to get this area mulched really nice and thick and have full coverage. And it looks really good, and it was a really easy project. Since that first part of the project went pretty quickly, we're going to go ahead and continue mulching. Eventually, I want to get that bed here done, but more importantly, this walkway has been mulched before, and it's time to put a new layer of mulch on it. I love how this is turning out.
Right here.
I really love being able to see this bed. Like, it just shows off so well without having weedy grass around it. And I know that rhododendron is going to be so much happier.
Yeah.
With mulch. And just the top dressing on this is just, it's just nice. It's clean. It's fresh. Feels good.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Next we'll get in here, and then in there, and then around the back. See what happens up front.
Yeah.
So that didn't take very long at all, and it made such a transformation. I am absolutely loving how the butterfly garden just pops against this mulch instead of kind of patchy grass that we had around it before. That was really hard to weed around it and everything like that. So I'm so happy that this project got done, and it was really easy and really fast. And it just makes such a huge impact. So I hope this inspired you to get out in your garden and do something fast, fun, and fabulous. And we will see you in the next video. If you'll like and subscribe, it helps us tremendously to grow this channel. And thank you all so very much for hanging out with us while we garden today. Bye.